Hey guys, WOCino, I'm back with another video, and this video is going to be on the Stone Cold podcast. They put a new podcast on the WWE Network, which is the first time this has ever been done. I usually always listen to the Stone Cold podcast. It's one of my favorite podcasts. I always love listening to the Stone Cold podcast, the Jericho podcast, the Art of Wrestling, the JR podcast. There's a lot, but this is one that's on top, and he's I guess like they started working together to get Vince McMahon on the show. Just a big week or weeks for podcast. You got the CM Punk podcast, now the Vince McMahon podcast, and both of these podcasts really surprised me, especially this one because it's on the WWE Network. And as you can see in the picture, CM Punk is on the TV, and they were talking about CM Punk, and Vince McMahon apologized to CM Punk because him getting his termination papers on the day of his wedding day was it was a coincidence, and Vince McMahon said, I can definitely see me and CM Punk working together in the future, and he talked about a lot of things. They even mentioned TNA at one point because they started talking about the Monday Night Wars. Then they started talking about TNA because they brought up how there's no real competition right now, and they were like, no offense to TNA. So they brought that in, which really surprised me, especially the TNA part. What else did they talk about that was pretty? Oh, Cesaro. They talked about how Cesaro was getting pushed to the moon, and then they dropped him. Like, what is it that he needs to get back up there? Vince said that he needs like charisma. There's a special little thing about him that he doesn't have yet. And yeah, just a really good podcast. Another thing that they talked about was the Shane McMahon and where he is. Vince McMahon said that Shane McMahon right now is in Japan doing his own thing. He's really talented, and he's just out there doing his own thing. Because a family business is pretty hard to run. So that's why Shane left, and he's doing his own thing with his family. He's enjoying life, and yeah, that's pretty cool. As they talk about their feud, of course, and how much fun they had with it. They talk about like his dad and how Vince McMahon got into the business. Just a lot of things to check out on this podcast. So if you haven't already, definitely check out the Stone Cold podcast. It's a really good podcast, especially this one. This is probably my favorite episode from the Stone Cold podcast. And yeah, it was pretty smart for WWE to do this podcast on December 1st. That I'm pretty sure that's going to get a lot of people to subscribe to the WWE Network because they wanted to see this podcast, and now they got a subscription. So that is it for this video, you guys. If you check this podcast out, leave me down in the comments below on how you felt about it. I honestly loved it. 5 out of 5 stars. The CM Punk and this podcast are my favorites right now. And yeah, that is it for this video, you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Check out the podcast. And until then, I will see you in my next video. Bye.